Good afternoon and welcome to Etihad Cargo Connections. I'm your host, Ron Anderson, and tonight I'm joined by one of Italy's leading horse training families, Marco Botti. Welcome, Marco. How are you tonight?
All good, thank you very much. How are you?
I'm good. So we'll just start at the beginning. Where were you born and where did you grow up?
So I was born in Italy and obviously raised in Milan. My parents, my dad is still training in Milan, and until obviously I left Italy when I was about 30 to then come to England and for experience and started with Mr. Kumani as a pupil assistant, and I'm still in England now. So
that's it. Yeah,
it's been a long time.
Yeah, so you mentioned your father. He's been a champion trainer in Italy for more than 30 years. Your brother is also a trainer in Italy. How important is your family history around horse racing to your career?
Yeah, obviously that's pretty much all we know. We've been we just grown up with horses. Same for my brother. So all it goes back to couple of generations. My grandfather was a trainer as well, and of course it's a big advantage to understand the industry and how the commitments, how difficult it's a tough job for sure. It can be enjoyable at the time, but you have to be very dedicated, and there's no doubt being in a racing family and seeing my dad has helped to understand what was going to be the future.
Yeah, and just quickly before we start talking about horses and achievements from yourself, is it yourself or your father who trains Emblem Road?
Which one, sorry?
Emblem Road, the Saudi Cup winner.
That sorry was with my cousin.
With your cousin? Okay.
In France.
Cool.
Again, I have two cousins. Alessandro trains in Chantilly.
Yeah.
And he had the horse. Won the Saudi Cup for the summer last year.
Yeah. And what was it about horses that got you passionate? Obviously, the family history around horse racing, but what was it about the actual animal that got you passionate in becoming involved in the industry?
Well, obviously, it's always been great and passion to be around. Started with the ponies when we were, when I was 10-year-old. And always liked the horses, and of course since early days I was just going to the yard with my dad and spend time with the horses, and what is fascinating when you get a young horses in the yard and see them how they develop and how they started their career, then obviously it's quite exciting when you get a good one and see the progress from 2 to 3, and you start looking some exciting races, and that's it's all about. And I think it's a job also. You meet with a lot of people. It's given a good opportunity to travel around the world. Been to Australia, America, and obviously Dubai, and it's quite a good job, to in a way to be. It can be stressful at the time, but it's a good job to be a racehorse trainer.
Yeah, and you've trained over 700 winners, and in the ballpark of 17 million in prize money. You've been named champion all-weather trainer as well as international trainer of the year at the HWPA Derby Awards. What have been some other highlights from your career, whether that be achievements or wins that you've seen success so far in your career?
Well, obviously we tend to target every year to get as many wins as we can. And I think it's very important because if you have plenty of winners, means you have happy owners, and that's for sure is the main target every year. Of course, to have horses of the good enough for group races. It makes even more enjoyable and attractive, and I would imagine that that's where owners sort of notice you, if you have horses in the good races. And I mean, any group race is always welcome, and to get black type horses every year, that would be the target for sure.
Yeah. And your family sees horse training as tactical and in essence being like similar to an athletic coach, being a coach of your equine athletes. Tell us how important that is, understanding that, yes, they are horses, but more so at the end of the day, every single one is an athlete. And, it's dependent to get the best out of each athlete in terms of being able to achieve and, get those successes from your stable. So how important is that understanding that you are, in essence, an athletic coach?
Yeah, that's exactly the, end of the day, even with horses, they are athletes, and you have to treat them as an individual, and everyone has, their character and their sort of attitude. Some require, a little bit more attention to details. Others, they can be easy to deal with. And this is it's quite fascinating when we get yearlings. So at the early stage, and you start the procedure, just basically breaking them in, just putting the saddle on and with start with the rider. As I said, from just early days when you start with the yearlings, and they just then see the different attitude, the way they want to be trained, and you trying to analyze them, and then sort of make up our mind how they want to be trained. Some horses that they need to be trained harder than others, and that's it's all. It's basically, it's like you're probably training a football player, when they start at an early age, and you just have to teach them and take care, and probably treat as an individual for sure.
Yeah. And you mentioned moving, to Newmarket after working as an assistant with some of the top trainers of the English turf. You took the next step, to open your own stables. When did this happen, and what stage, like when did you realize, based off the background in your family history, that you wanted to go out on your own and start your own stables?
Well, I came to England in 2002, and initially was just for experience, trying to just gain more experience abroad with English trainers. Then obviously I worked 4 years with 3 different trainers, Mr. Kumani, a couple of years, and then I moved to Mr. Dunlop, Ed Dunlop, and Godolphin with Said Bin Suru. And after the 4 years, I sort of had a choice to rejoin my parents, and of course be an assistant trainer, and then eventually take over from my dad. But then we had a long conversation with my parents, and I said, I actually like the system in England, and made a decision to just take my chance. And it was tough at the beginning because obviously being Italian, you sort of have to find your your clients, they want to support you and give horses to train. But luckily, I had a good support from different people, a different part of the world, from America, and a lot of owners from Dubai as well. And we've been just able to just build up a number of horses, in those years. And like you said, we think we had over 700 wins and plenty of nice horses. There's been a lot of nice horses like Celebration. Everyone remembers him for just being in Franco's shadow, all the time. Just it's been 4 times second behind probably the best horse we've seen in England for a long time. And Euro Charlene and Dandino and Gitan Hernando. So it's in those years I feel we've been lucky to come across good horses where they just put us on the map. And I suppose we just built up the number of horses we have. At the moment, we have 85 horses in training, which I feel is a good number. And plenty of 2-year-olds to look forward to.
Yeah, and you mentioned Acceleration as well as the others, Joshua Tree, Kapla Temptress, who got that grade 1 at Woodbine. And you said you had 85 in work at the moment. How many did you start with initially when you first opened up in Newmarket?
Initially, we only started with, I think there were about 6 horses.
Yeah.
Yeah, and mainly from friends and or connection with, obviously through my dad, and luckily we had like a 9 wins first season with only 3 horses ended up running, and then the second year we had just a Group 3 winner, and that's of course attract more owners, and then luckily every year we just increase the number of horses, and I suppose with good wins abroad, America, France, it did help, and we sort of built a reputation of we like to travel our horses and take opportunities abroad as well, and that's what we always done, in those probably last 10 years or so.
And to grow from 6 to 85 just shows that success you've had over those years. And as you said, you may have only, run 3 horses in that first season for 9 wins, but you've obviously built off that success, which is really, really, impressive. And you now train a trio for the Dubai Carnival. We'll just go over those 3 now and just talk about what their programs are going to look like, if that's okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we've got Artican. He's the 4-year-old colt by Reliable Man who's nominated for the Dubai Shima Classic and the Dubai Gold Cup also. Ran 3 weeks ago on debut in the UAE in the listed Al Khail Trophy and was far from disgrace, finishing 3rd but only 1.5 lengths off the winner, who was Global Heat. Has a Group 2 and a Group 3 to his name. One of those victories, impressively, in group company was by nearly 7 lengths, which was awesome to watch. Could you tell us a little bit about him, how he came to be with you, as well as what his program is going to look like during the carnival?
Yeah, obviously came. It was bought by Australian's client, and he ran in America for the previous trainer before he joined us. Afterwards, after that, the race in America, the plan was to take him to Dubai and run for the carnival, but the main target would be the Gold Cup. Of course, when the first run, I thought it was very pleasing run, and we were delighted that just the way he ran, we knew he probably would just improve from the race. he's proven he can stay the trip, and he relaxed well in the race, and probably just got denied by a couple of fitter horses, but definitely was quite encouraging performance. He's entered this Friday to run in the mile and 6 Group 3, and like I said, he's if all goes to plan, then we will aim him to the Gold Cup on Dubai World Cup night. The horse has been training well. He seems in good form, and touch wood, everything is going smoothly. So,
and like you said as well, his first run in Dubai, to run third, like you said, by not much. Like there was only 1.5 lengths between winner and third place. Training well, sounds good. Definite improvement will come with him.
Yeah, definitely. We expect him to come on. He had a good blow after the race, so I expect him to be fitter this time. We've seen the entries this morning. They're about 14 or 15 entered, but based on rating, is the second highest rated horse in the race. So that should. In theory, should have a very good chance.
Yeah. And then the next is Felix. He's the 7-year-old son of Lope de Vega. He's nominated for the Dubai Turf as well. Has run in Meydan previously, 3 career starts, a third placing in this race in 2021. Could you tell us a little bit about him, if he is still headed to the Dubai Turf, and what his program will look like?
Yeah, he ran twice in Dubai. Sadly, the first race, it was the day there was quite a lot of rain. Rain for 3 days, and the ground went probably too soft for him. He really wants top of the ground, and he didn't enjoy it. But still ran a respectable race. Then we then ran. We then ran last week, and I thought it just it was a little bit slow away, and he stayed on, but they got a little bit trouble in the running as well. Unfortunately, his rating this year is only down to 98, and that means he will struggle to get in the 2 main meetings, the Super Saturday and Dubai World Cup night. So sadly, he might just stay on the two runs and come back to England, and perhaps run him back in the spring in England.
And the last of the 3 is the young colt Giavellotto, who's nominated for the Gold Cup as well. He's yet to race in UAE, is that correct?
Yeah, we pretty much on schedule with him. I mean, we're waiting the invitation and for the Gold Cup. It's been the plan for a long time. We've taken a different approach with Giavellotto, so we kept him in England, and it was only we wanted to just run in the Gold Cup, but not just start the season too early to run in the Carnival. So he had a nice break. He's done really well from 3 to 4. And like I said, he's training really well, and we're quite pleased with him. If we get an invitation for the Gold Cup, then we hopefully we are on schedule for and that is the plan.
Yeah, and is he going to run before the Gold Cup, or what's going to happen if he does not receive an invitation? Where will we see him race?
Just back in England, obviously, we got a race in mind. It could be a prep race for him on the 11th of March. Again, because the Dubai World Cup is on the 25th, so trying to just find a a race where we could use as a prep race. It's not always easy this time of the year. I spoke to the owner actually yesterday, and we came to a conclusion. We would keep the option open for the prep race in England, or perhaps just a racecourse gallop, and go straight for the Gold Cup. He's a horse. He gets fit, he's very clean-winded, and he's quite active, so he should, even if we ended up just running, go straight to the Gold Cup. In terms of fitness, it shouldn't be an issue.
Shouldn't be an issue. And you said you had 85 in training at the moment. Who are some other stars, at home, that are racing around at the moment that people should keep an eye out for?
We have a nice group of 3-year-olds. A couple in particular, they won last year as a 2-year-old, a filly called Goldest Glass. She's by Australia. She only ran once and won a Newmarket, and she's by Australia, so it's just was going to be a better 3-year-old. And she's wintering fine. She's done really well through the winter, and could be a filly to just be exciting in the spring. Another horse, Legend of Leros, is a 3-year-old, ran twice last year, and he won nicely at Doncaster back end of the season. It's by Curiosio, and again, we are hoping he will turn into a black type horse this year. So those are probably the 3-year-olds. We don't have many old horses, and of course Giavellotto and Ardacan would be the best duo at the moment.
And you mentioned as well a few times that one of the parts of the job that you really enjoy is getting something fresh, like a yearling or a 2-year-old, and basically nurturing that and developing that into, as you've said, like a black type horse, or a horse that you can really unleash in a group or grade race. Are there any yearlings or the younger crop of the stable that you look at and you are really excited by the potential that they have?
Yes, I tend to not to get carried away this time of the year, because obviously they've just been cantering for probably 2 months. They done well. They do plenty of upside the canters, but still very early days to say which one it could be. Potentially could be a black type horse. However, we got a mix of a pedigree, some precocious. We have a nice Exceeding and Cell colt, and he's doing well, and we think he could be an early type. And also few 2-year-olds by first season sires, like Ines of Courts, Acclaim. Acclaim obviously is not the first season, but a nice filly by Acclaim. Then we got a few others. They look quite nice, 2-year-old, and could be, like I said, we should have a mix between some precocious and others, and maybe they're going to be midsummer onwards. But it's nice to have that sort of type, is for sure.
And you've said you've traveled all over the world, Australia, all through the UK, and Dubai, obviously, with horses that you've trained to race. If there was a race you could win at home or abroad, what race would that be and why?
There's no doubt I would like to have a Group 1 winner in England, so any Group 1 winner. Sadly, we had 6 Group 1s, but France, America, but we got very close in England. There's a lot of second in Group 1, but we're still waiting for that, and that would be really welcome. Any Group 1 in England, of course. The Derby is the race everyone wants to win. But if there is a race, I would say that the Hark is always been in my mind as a wonderful race, and where the stayer basically all the best stayer meets up end of the season, and yeah, I would say is one of that races I would really like to win.
A win. That's it. Thanks so much for joining us tonight, Marco. It's been really good.
Pleasure. Nice
Thanks
to
so
talk
much.
to you.
Thank you, Marco.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye. Bye.